Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey, Wimey Review. In tribute to actress Jackie Lane, who sadly passed away a few weeks ago, I decided to review the first Doctor story, The Ark, originally broadcast on BBC One of March 1966. Just in case you don't know the plot, the first Doctor, Stephen and Dodo arrive on a ship which has been nicknamed the Ark, which is carrying the last of the human race and their servants, the Monoids, to their new home planet of Refusus, a journey that is going to take the human race 700 years to complete. However, Dodo has got the common cold, which is proving to be more fatal to the humans and Monoids alike. The Doctor manages to find a cure to suppress the virus. However, when the TARDIS crew arrive several centuries later, they soon discover that the Monoids have taken over the Ark and have enslaved the human race. What I noticed straight away in this four-part adventure is it has more of a contemporary feel compared to some of the earlier stories in the First Doctor era. Because when I think of the William Hartnell era and the First Doctor, I always straight away go to the three companions, Ian, Barbara and Susan, especially Susan with that sort of grandfather-granddaughter sort of protection going on there. They're kind of gone away. They've moved on now. So we have Stephen Taylor and Dodo Chaplet, and the Doctor's role seems to have slightly changed. So he's not more of like a grandfather figure and argumentative to the more older characters. He's more of like there's more of a whimsical charm to him. He still has the sterner sort of front, but there is that sort of whimsicalness with the two companions travelling through their journey in space and time. Other contemporary notions that I got from this story was the Monoids with their Beatle-style haircuts. I'll get to them a little bit later in this review, but also some of the camera angles that they used to display the bridge of the ship. Just having those sort of like overhead camera shots, I thought that was quite unique for its time, really, because you think definitely in the First Doctor era of the studio bound cameras, it's sort of like just quite blocky and quite basic compared to some camera angles that you see now in modern day Doctor Who. But I also liked that the effects had kind of slightly improved throughout the First Doctor's tenure. I thought the cliffhanger with the massive statue revealing the head of the Monoid instead of a head of a human was really good. And seeing some of the animals and sort of the camera trickery for displaying some of the animals that were in the Ark. And again, yeah, some of the spaceship special effects, they looked quite good in the first half of this story. I also like that our three main actors each had their own time to shine. William Hartnell was kind of like the background figure and just popping up here, there, everywhere, and just having that sort of whimsical look about him. I know that people sort of jokingly he was looking for his lines on top of the screens and stuff like that, but to be honest, fair play to William Hartnell. Obviously, you get to see a lot more that his health is starting to degrade at this point in his era of Doctor Who, and fluffing up his lines and being a bit more forgetful. But you got to understand that he was doing a whole sort of year of Doctor Who, really. They were banging out about 45 episodes a year. That's a lot. 45 25-minute episodes, that is a grueling task for anyone, let alone William Hartnell, who was in a bit more ill health and his age as well. So yeah, he's still okay. He's not at his very best, but even then, he still had that gravitas of being the Doctor and had his great moments, not only in the Ark but in subsequent stories as well. Jackie Lane as Dodo Chaplet had her good moments here as well. I feel like this story, The Celestial Toymaker and the Gunfighters, they're the kind of, if you're looking for some great moments from Dodo, those three stories are kind of the main ones for me. I like that she was kind of more the foil to the two male leads, but she was quite a strong character, to be fair, as well. If you compare it to Vicky and Susan, they're kind of more screaming, need protecting type of characters, where here she kind of has a go herself, stands up for herself as well, doesn't take any nonsense, not to the extreme as, like, say, Tegan or Donna Noble, but yeah, definitely brings the role to her own. To be fair, though, I think Dodo didn't really get a fair crack of the whip, especially with a name called Dodo as well. And her exit from the War Machines is, yeah, very, very much forgettable, very, very sadly. But I'm glad that Jackie has her moment in Doctor Who history, and that she also sort of comes back to Doctor Who in a way, with being the representatives to Tom Baker and Janet Fielding, aka Tegan Jovanka. So she is going to be sadly missed, and it's very, very sad that when people pass away. But I feel that she is going to be sadly missed in her tenure as Doctor Who. And not forgetting Peter Purvis as Stephen Taylor. He had a really good moment here in the story, where it's in the second episode where he's been put on trial. He's trying to represent himself, but the fever of the virus is getting to him. But he had some really good, strong moments in this episode. Definitely one of the highlights from his tenure in Doctor Who. Let's talk about the monoids in this story. Now, I didn't mind them really. I thought the costumes were okay. Yeah, they're not the best, but obviously the top half is better than the bottom half, because I thought with the Beatles hair and the single eye moving around, I thought it was really, really good. I quite liked it. Obviously, you got to put it in perspective, really. We are seeing things through HD TV nowadays, so you can clearly see that it is this one big cloth covering up the body, and you can see the back of them where the zip, clearly that's how they unzip and get out of these costumes. But I thought, as a monster design, I thought they're not too bad. I thought it's pretty serviceable. Again, the face and the eyes is the best part of it, and the hair. And I thought Roy Skelton did a good job with what he's been given, providing the voices for the monoids when they take over in the second half of the story. They could have done a bit more with the voices, to be fair, but I don't mind them. I think they stand out, maybe for the wrong reasons. You're going to have to let me know in the comments, but I thought they were serviceable monsters enough. Speaking of top halves and bottom halves, that's kind of the running themes of the problem with this story, unfortunately. The first two episodes are by far the strongest out of the 4 episodes. And that just goes all the way through in terms of story, effects, the effects. I mean, the first 2 episodes, the effects and just the presentation is, again, way stronger than the second half of the story. Now, to be fair, again, we are watching things in high definition, but I mean, like, the statue, when the invisible aliens, the Refusians, when they're picking up the statue, it's clearly just like this tiny sort of model just sort of going up by string. I mean, you don't see the strings in that part, but it's clearly sort of like a cheap way of just, I will move this statue with no problem at all. I thought that was quite amusing. And the shuttle pods going back and forth from the Ark to the planet and backwards and forwards. Yeah, clearly little strings on little shuttle pods. And they are the worst, noisiest shuttle pods you could go on. You're just taking up, and it'll just blow your ears. Just going up and going, and just hearing that all the way through your journey back onto the planet. Yeah, it will do your head in. And yeah, it just didn't quite flow after episode 2. Episode 2 had the best cliffhanger as well, but but by episodes 3 and 4, it just goes into a bit of monsters have enslaved the human race, and the Doctor and the companions have got to stop them. It kind of gets a bit generic. I'm going to give the arc a TARDIS rating of 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely not one of the strongest stories in the William Hartnell era, but it does have its moments. Most notably, the three main leads, they're the glue to this story. Their performances just keep the story going for me. The first half is definitely the strongest out of the 4 episodes. The first 2 episodes, I would say, are the strongest. And it does have some good ideas, most notably the survival of the human race. This is something that crops up over and over again in science fiction, and yeah, you got to think about it. I mean, it's something that we're still thinking about to this day. Eventually the sun will run out of power. We are going to have to leave Earth if the human race is going to survive. So to see that then, and it's still being talked about now, it does have that contemporary feel. Again, the effects, I'm not going to bash on it too much, because you can't, it's been, it's different television era and budgets and everything else. So it does have lots of good themes going for it, some good effects, some good storytelling, but it just doesn't quite hit the mark in terms of the payouts. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the arc. Is it one of your favourite stories? And also, what was your favourite story to contain the First Doctor, Stephen and Dodo? Don't forget to check out the arc, by the way. It is still worth a watch. You can do so on DVD and BritBox. Next time on Timey Wimey Review, I'm going to review an underrated 10th Doctor story, Turn Left. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And as a good doctor once said, you must travel with understanding and hope.